The goal is not the outcome. The goal is the process. It's to practice. It's to embrace the process. The outcome we have no control over. And if we make the outcome the goal and we don't get the goal, that gets us discouraged. That prevents us from doing the things that we need to do. And the things that we need to do is to practice and gain experience. Anything that's going to prevent that from happening becomes the obstacle. The obstacle will shape the way that we have to approach things. Okay? The obstacle is something that we need to accept. We need to accept the roadblocks, the setbacks. They only become roadblocks and setbacks if we keep the goal the same. So we must change our goal. We must embrace the process of adversity. We must be observant and curious to how others are going to respond to us, how we're going to respond to an obstacle, and formulate a plan to allow us to get around the obstacle. Practice this mindset, and it shall set you free. There's always setbacks, there's always roadblocks, there's always disappointment. But why do we have disappointment? It's subconsciously driven through the way that we've thought for our entire lives. And it's a matter of rewriting the way we think by taking action and accepting the things that we do not have control over. And understanding that if we simply change the goal to be just acting, just doing the thing that we need to do to get practice and experience, are we ever failing? The only way that we actually fail is by not doing that thing. And reinforce that over years, okay? Because the way we think, we've been thinking our entire lives. It's a way to think differently. We need to continue to actively try to accept and think differently. And the more we do that, the better progress we make. And if progress is defined by the amount of actions that we've taken to get us closer to our goal, our outcome-based goal, which is being happier, living a happy life, then are we not succeeding? I will argue that we are succeeding, because each one of those actions add up. They add up, they accumulate. Then our identity begins to change. Although we might not see it, there will be a time where there's a tipping point where it all becomes clear. But we must trust that our actions are pointing us in the right directions. Especially when our actions are tempting us to not do it, to give up, to stop, to get discouraged. This is where discipline comes into play. We all have a capacity, a certain amount that we can tolerate of uncomfortability. And it's okay. Some days it's going to be harder than others. It's going to exceed that. Some days, if we keep pushing, it might be a little bit more detrimental. We might be a little bit traumatized, and, you know, it might be more risky. In those days, we got to pull back. In those days, we got to ask, well, how much sleep did I get? Am I eating and drinking properly? Am I healthy? Am I doing the things that make me happy? What is getting in the way of this? And what is allowing my mind to exceed the capacity to do uncomfortable things? So sometimes we got to pull back. Sometimes we got to go forward. Okay? But the main thing is that we need to try our hardest all the time. We must be aware of this line that we have to push a little bit more each day. Okay? Even if it's writing stuff down, even if it's acknowledging the good, the bad, we need to keep pushing every single day. And we need to come to terms with where we are. And we need to be honest with ourselves. Are we exceeding our capacity? Are we just making excuses not to be uncomfortable? Do we like to be comfortable? How long do we need to be comfortable before we're recharged and re-energized? That's another question. Some people recover really fast. Some people don't. But knowing where you are, knowing your patterns, will help set the tone on how you recover best, how much time you need away from a specific challenging thought or action that you need to do to make yourself uncomfortable. This balance is constant. There'll be waves that we feel like we get everything right. There'll be waves that we feel like we don't. It's the times when we feel like we don't have everything right. It's the times to figure out what we can do. What's the smallest step that we can do? And the times that everything's going right, we can't gloat. We can't let our ego get to our heads. We have to pull back a bit and be realistic about it. And really question, am I making myself uncomfortable now? Or am I just allowing myself to indulge in all this success? And what is really defining the success? If success is defined by action and extra stuff comes, like dessert or icing on the cake, why should we interpret this as more success when it's really not? Because the only success is doing and acting. So be careful with what you define as success, and don't change the definition of success, because then we set ourselves up for failure, because now our expectations are higher and we haven't progressed it slow enough. We progressed it a little bit too fast. So take your time and keep the goal the same. And the goal is to act. And who cares what the outcome is? You're going to act, you're going to observe with curiosity and intrigue, and you're going to observe the other person with curiosity and intrigue. And you're not going to judge it. You're going to accept your fate and love it. And you're going to live today as if these were the last moments alive in the moment.